ask Gerry MacMillan to come to the stage, please? So good for so long was the newspaper headline 21 years ago, describing Gerry MacMillan's golf prowess in 1983. That was a bit too soon because he has been just as good for much longer, still with the ability to compete at high levels on local and national stages. He has been so good that he has won provincial titles in 5 decades, a feat unmatched by any Nova Scotia golfer.
There's no question that Gerry's one of the finest players ever to come out of the province. One just has to look at his record in NSGA events to realize this. He had all the technical skills and all the mental skills to play the game very well. And in addition, he had the added asset of having great physical strength that allowed him to play the power game. And in fact, I think his combination of distance and accuracy off the tee was perhaps his biggest strength, the biggest strength of his game.
Gerry MacMillan started playing golf at age 11 in 1964 at Paragon Golf and Country Club. He won provincial juvenile and junior championships and 7 amateur titles with an additional 6 second-place finishes. He was named to 19 provincial Wellington Cup teams, including 1 while of junior age. Add to that 4 provincial mid-amateur championships, including 1 in 1999, that boosted him to the provincial team that became the first Nova Scotia team to win a Canadian championship.
The 1999 Canadian Mid-Amateur Championships in Calgary, and Gerry and I were representing the province along with Dean Woodman and Brian Murray. And I guess you have to keep in mind that Gerry and I had been on provincial teams for the past 25 or 30 years, and one of our main goals was always to win a provincial team title. And we had always come up short. We hadn't done that before. So at this particular tournament, we were, I think, 2 shots or 3 shots behind Manitoba going into the second day, and a couple ahead of Ontario. And the 4 of us were paired in the last 4 groups with Ontario and Manitoba players. So I was the last one to finish, and I had just finishing off my score and submitted it to the scoring tent. And Gerry and Brian and Ed came down to the tent from watching me finish on the 18th hole, and I think it was Brian said, "Well, how'd you do? And I said, "Well, I was 72." And he said, "How'd the other guys do it?" And I said, "Well, I think I tied the Ontario guy, and I think I beat the Manitoba guy by a couple." And there was a little bit of silence. And Gerry suddenly said, "We won." And I looked at him, and he looked at me, and simultaneously the tears started to flow as we realized, we had achieved our goal.
You know what? I'll tell you what's awesome about this night is last year Graham was inducted, and Gerry spoke glowingly about him. It's just awesome. And we're not finished yet. Gerry won 6 provincial 4-ball, best ball titles and a pair of father and son Nova Scotia championships with his father, Chad.
As a competitor to play against, when he was okay until he turned about 16 or so, and then he just shot off like a rocket. So it was pretty hard to play against him because he was always going to win. But to have him on your team was something else, and I was very fortunate to have played on some junior teams. Provincial junior teams and university teams with him, as well as participating as his partner in the Nova Scotia 2-ball for, I guess, the last almost 30 years. So it's great to have him on your side, and he's no matter how you play, he's always there in your corner. He's just a tremendous influence and supporter of everybody who's ever played with him on any of these teams.
Gerry MacMillan was one of only 4 Nova Scotians ever named to an international team when he competed in Australia at the Centenary Australian Amateur and Team Championship in 1994. Here are some numbers: 8 Nova Scotia mid-amateur teams, 19 Nova Scotia Wellington Cup teams, 2 Nova Scotia junior teams, 29 team appearances.
When he was on his game, he was virtually unbeatable with all the skills that he had. So you knew you had to play well in order to compete against him. And but it was certainly a challenge, and it elevated your game as well whenever you played with him.
And Gerry has had 2 holes in one at the Canadian Amateur in 1974 in Winnipeg, while playing with eventual professional Jim Nelford. He's now course superintendent at Paragon Golf Club, which lessens his playing and practice time, but his game hasn't waned. Added all together, is it any wonder Gerry MacMillan was named Nova Scotia Golfer of the Year 4 times? And to further that thought and that question, is it any wonder that Gerry MacMillan is the newest member, the newest athlete to be named a member of the Nova Scotia Sport Hall of Fame? To present the Hall of Fame certificate, let's invite Tom Jubas, Vice President of Sales for Eastern Turf, to the stage, and to present the Hall of Fame pin, an inductee from 2003, fellow golfer, great buddy, Gerry McIntyre. I want to tell you, this man has a very sly sense of humor, too. I think about 3 years ago, I was asked to put a CBC team into an event at Osprey Ridge, so I called Gerry because I thought he might have watched CBC once. And I figured he'd be okay to have on the squad, and he decided to drive down and play, and he was watching me and the 3 other team members warm up, and I said to him, "What do you think we have to shoot today to win this?" And he said, "Probably you 3. Which I thought was a tad cruel, but nonetheless a good line. Congratulations to you. Everybody who has played with you knows you're a great gentleman, and if you can articulate what this sport, I know you've played it almost your entire life, what it's meant to your life.
Oh, it's been a great deal, certainly. I've just met so many fine people and had such great support from my family and friends over all the years, taken me all across this country and outside the country, internationally a little bit. Just been wonderful. I couldn't have been involved in a better sport, for sure.
You, Graham, Dean, and Brian win that just a couple of years back, and Graham has his memories of what it was like. What are yours?
Oh, that's by far the highlight of my career, I would say, being part of that team. As Graham mentioned, we tried so many times to win that darn thing and to go away and represent the province, and always coming up second best or not even that good sometimes, but to finally break through and win it just meant so much to us, and there was a lot of emotion there. I can remember that. I'll never forget. But when Graham came off that final green and we were all there and we had the realization that we'd won, it was just like a tremendous weight was lifted off our shoulders, and we could go home proud. Finally, we'd accomplished what we'd set out to do.
Kathy remembered, I think, a 40-foot eagle putt is one of the highlight shots of her career. When you look back, is there one or two that stand out that maybe even fooled you or amazed you?
Yeah, there have been a few over the years, but probably the one shot that I'll remember above all others was, I think, in 1983. out at the new Ashburn course and the Nova Scotia Amateur. And it was the summer after my dad had passed away. And I sort of, it meant so much to me that the game, that he brought me to the game really, and I stood on that last green, and somehow I had a chance to win the tournament. I'd led most of the way through, and Kevin Dugas had passed me and come to the last green, and he'd made a double bogey, I understand, and a young fellow had come back down the fairway, and I was hitting my shot into the green, and I thought the round was, or the tournament was lost, but the kid said, "Gee, he made a six there. You still got a chance." So I hit a ball on the green probably 30 feet from the hole, and it started to rain. It was like the heavens opened up, and I rolled this putt in. It was like a dream, and it was like somebody's hand came down and guided that ball into the hole, and so that's probably the one that I remember the most.
That's a tough story to top or even try to. But was Dad the guy? Was he the guy that got you in and kept you into the game?
Oh, no question. Yeah, he was a great. Besides being a great father and a great person, he was the type of guy that always remained in the background. Made sure I got there, whether it was golf, hockey, ball, whatever. He did that with all of us, all of his sons and daughters, and we sure miss him, but he's always going to be with us, and yeah, he was the guy that was real important to me with the golf.
I'm sure he's really proud right now. Gerry MacMillan, congratulations, ladies and gentlemen.